We're going to look at how you perform the 4 basic operations on fractions. So the first thing you can do is you can add fractions. In order to add fractions, you have to have the same denominator or the number on the bottom. So because this is 9 and 9, I can add these 2 fractions. So you keep the denominator, keep the 9, and then you add the numerator, 1 plus 2, 3. In theory, it would be done, except you can reduce this fraction. So you look for numbers that can go into both the top and the bottom. So here you can divide the top and the bottom both by 3, and you can reduce this to 1/3. This fraction has the same denominator, so we can add it, keep the denominator, and then add the numerator. So we end up with 9/12. But again, this can be reduced. It's just a coincidence, but again, it can be reduced by 3. So 9 divided by 3, 12 divided by 3, we can reduce that to 3/4. 11 and 11, so keep your denominator and then add the numerators, 1 plus 8. And this time we're done because you can't reduce 9/11. So that one's done. If we keep going, you see we have a problem here. We can't add these fractions because the denominator is not the same. So you want to try to find a number that both 5 and 2 will go into. In this case, it would be 10. So we want to turn the denominator on both of these into 10, which means I'm going to multiply this one by 2/2, because if I multiply by 2/2, it's essentially multiplying by 1, and the number doesn't really change. Same thing, I want to turn this into a 10, so I'm going to multiply this side by 5/5. So 2 times 3 is 6, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10. So now I have the same denominator and I can add. So 11/10. That fraction is done. Same thing here, I can't add these because they don't have the same denominator. So I want to think about a denominator that would be common between 5 and 3. In this case, it would be 15. So I'm going to multiply this side by 3/3. I'm going to multiply this side by 5/5. 3 times 4 is 12/15. 1 times 5 is 5/15. So now I can add across 17 and then keep the denominator 15. So this is 17/15. Now this one's a little different because we need to find a common denominator, but what's nice is I only need to change this one. So I'm going to multiply this side by 5/5. So I'm just going to carry this over 1/10 because that one's fine. Now 1 times 5 is 5, 2 times 5 is 10. So it was nice because I didn't have to change this one. Add straight across would be 6/10, which we can reduce by 2. So that would be 3/5. So that's how you add fractions. We're only going to take a second on subtracting fractions because it's the same rules as adding. So if you have the same denominator, you're good to go. So keep your denominator and then subtract the numerators. 7 minus 1 is 6. And then reduce this one, divide top and bottom by 3. And that one is done. This one, again, we can't subtract yet because we don't have the same denominators. So I'm going to change this denominator to 4. So I'm going to multiply by 2/2. So 3/4 minus 1 times 2 is 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Now we can subtract. So keep your denominator, 4, and then 3 minus 2 is 1. And you can't reduce 1/4, so you're good there. So that's addition and subtraction. And what's nice is multiplying and dividing is actually easier. So when it comes to multiplying fractions, the only rule you need to know is to multiply straight across, and this time you do both top and bottom. So 2 times 1 is 2, 3 times 4 is 12. Now you're done, except that you can reduce this. So you can divide top and bottom by 2, which would be 1/6. So that one's done. Same thing here, we're going to just multiply straight across. 4/40, which you can reduce by 4. So 1/10. Last but not least, we're going to just multiply straight across. 2/15, which can't reduce, so you are done. So that's multiplying, and last is division. So the rule for division is you keep the first fraction, so you keep 3/5. You change the division sign to multiplication, and you flip the second fraction, 3/1. Now that it's multiplication, you just multiply straight across like we did before. 3 times 3 is 9, 5 times 1 is 5. That one is done. So same thing, keep your first fraction 2/3, change the division to multiplication, and then flip the second fraction. Then multiply straight across. So that would be 4/3. Last example, keep your first fraction, change the division to multiplication, and flip the second fraction. Multiply straight across. 10/8, which you can reduce by 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2. That would be 5/4. And those are the 4 basic operations on fractions.